In early 2025, President Donald Trump announced a dramatic new trade policy: 25% tariff on imported cars, SUVs, trucks, and key auto parts, citing national security concerns.
What we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%.
Effective April 3rd, 2025, this resurrected a prior investigation from 2019 that warned rising auto imports threatened America's industrial base. Americans bought about 16 million cars in 2024, and about half were imported. Trump's goal is to increase domestic production, reduce import, and raise $100 billion in tariff revenue. But those tariffs could cost US automakers even more. A new analysis by the Center of Automotive Research has found that Trump's 25% auto tariffs imposed in early April will increase costs by about $108 billion for automakers in the US in this year. Unsurprisingly, the reaction was immediate and intense. Experts predict US car prices will rise by thousands of dollars, significantly affecting affordability and depressing sales. So, what does this mean for you and me? Expect automakers to raise prices, strip up features, or even cut budget-friendly models entirely. And here's a kicker: domestic manufacturers aren't ready to suddenly scale up. Shifting supply chains or expanding production lines takes time and money. Supporters of the move, like United Auto Workers Union, argue this will bring jobs back to America. And yes, there are early signs of reshoring, but while those potential benefits might take years to materialize, the price hikes are happening right now. Let's break it down further. The ripple effects are massive. Higher prices. Imported cars will see major price increase, and even US-built cars might cost more thanks to imported components. Lower sales and job cuts. Higher prices mean fewer people buying, which could mean layoffs at dealerships and factories. Supply chain chaos. Automakers that rely on global parts are scrambling to adapt, either by sourcing locally or shifting production to the US. Ford CEO has already raised the alarm, saying even American plants are vulnerable since they depend heavily on imported parts.
I will be able to say, though, in our guidance, we can handle a couple weeks of tariffs. If it goes beyond that, obviously it will be billions and billions of incremental profit headwinds for the companies.
Automakers are treading carefully. Many are preparing quiet price hikes, but cautious of political fallout. Industry groups are already pushing for exemptions, warning that these tariffs could backfire, hurting US operations more than helping. Some companies aren't waiting around. Jaguar Land Rover paused exports of British-made vehicles to the US, a huge move since the US accounts for over 25% of their sales. Nissan halted US orders for 2 Infiniti SUVs made in Mexico and is ramping up production in Tennessee to compensate. Stellantis, the parent of Jeep and Citroën, suspended operations at some plants in Mexico and Canada, temporarily laying off around 900 workers in the US. Meanwhile, a study from Germany's economic institute IW warns that tariffs could cost Germany's economy $200 billion over 4 years, about 1.5% of its GDP. Back in the US, Goldman Sachs predicts the average new car price could rise from $5,000 to $15,000. That's a huge jump. It could push buyers toward used cars or out of the market entirely. And even cars built in the US aren't safe because so many still rely on imported parts. So, what's the bigger picture here? Economically speaking, this move is, well, let's call it what it is. A madness. Developing a protectionist economy by limiting foreign competition entirely drives up production costs for domestic manufacturers, resulting in significantly higher prices for consumers. Such measures reduce purchasing power, slow economic growth, and disproportionately affect middle and lower income families. Then there is innovation. When you shield your industry from competition, guess what? Companies stop trying as hard. They cut back on R&D and the pace of progress slows. We've already seen it. Just look at the last year 100% import duty slapped on Chinese EVs. Why? Because those vehicles were becoming too good, more advanced, more innovative than what the US industry could match. By the way, if you haven't seen my video on Chinese global car expansion, check it out later. Moreover, higher tariffs typically lead to retaliatory actions from trading partners, triggering trade wars that strip global supply chains and increase uncertainty across the market. Such volatility often discourages foreign investors, further isolating the domestic economy and limiting its growth potential. From a geopolitical standpoint, imposing sudden and aggressive tariffs harms well-established relationships with international allies. Trade agreements are fundamentally based on mutual trust, negotiations, and cooperation. Unilateral changes without consultation undermine trust and portray the US as an unreliable and unpredictable trading partner. As a result, global markets and traditional allies may increasingly pivot towards alternative partners who provide greater stability and reliability.
So we will focus like a laser beam on the 83% of global trade that is beyond the United States. Vast opportunities.
While protectionist tariffs may appear beneficial in the short term by promising domestic job preservation, their broader economic consequences, including reduced consumer purchasing power, stifled innovation, disturbed international relations, and diminished foreign investment, far outweighed any immediate gains. For sustained economic growth and global competitiveness, open markets supported by strategic and collaborative trade policies remain crucial. You have been watching the Automotive Overview. My name is Bogdan, and see you next time.